Welcome everyone to the third WUG DMV session. Super excited today. We're going to be talking about reports, and because US Thanksgiving is next week, why not make it themed just like last time where we kind of had a very fall spooky season theme. We're going full in on the Thanksgiving theme of what reports are you thankful for? So today should be very interactive. It is not going to be just me speaking at you. But before I go any further, let me get the housekeeping out of the way. This session is being recorded, but it is not being shared publicly or broadcast everywhere or anything like that. It's mainly just for the folks that are here so that you don't have to feverishly take notes. You can still speak very openly, very freely. And then we will also post that recording to this group invite. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. To the invite, same place where you logged in, you'll be able to go back and see the recording. And it will also live on our YouTube channel. So, for anyone that I haven't met yet, hi, I am Monique Evans. I live in Baltimore, so I'm covering the M of our DMV. I am a creative ops manager. I've been using Workfront for 10 years and I work at Stanley Black and Decker. Usually with me is Jody, but she woke up this morning not feeling well. So I'm going to do my best to do a little double duty, but I'm definitely going to need all of you to bring your energy and questions and other reports just to keep this lively on this somewhat cloudy, hopefully not rainy, Friday morning. And Jody represents the V of our DMV group coming from Fairfax. So, like I said today, we're going to be talking about reports that we are thankful for. There's a couple of folks that signed up when they registered that said, yes, I want to share. Hopefully, that's still the case. So, not only will you be hearing from me, but there's also Lee, Brittany, Jolyn, Vikram. And then, of course, there's always going to be time afterwards for anyone who wants to come off mute. They felt inspired or they're just like, hey, I have a question. This is going to be super casual. So don't feel like you have to wait until the end or anything like that. After everyone, you know, goes, ask your questions, put them in the chat, come off mute, what have you. So without further ado, we're going to talk about my favorite thing, which is reporting. So when I was racking my brain trying to figure out just what report have I not shown folks. Some of you have been coming to a lot of these events, so you know I typically solve anything and everything with a report. Or a custom field that I didn't use in a report. So I was just kind of like really racking my brain of like, what haven't I talked about? What's new? I want to give, especially being my WUG, like I want to give you guys something that you haven't heard before. So hopefully I've done that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about just the reports that I am actually thankful for as an admin to stay organized, tell my story, see what's going on in there, reference when, is what I'm about to do in Workfront going to screw up other things, stuff like that. And the first one I want to talk about is my report. So if you have never heard that phrase before, yes, I am talking about a report that is listing out other reports because we are going full on meta today. And for anyone that did not know, there are dozens of different types of reports you can make. It is not just user, project, program, portfolio, hours, task requests. There's a whole scroll bar. So if you haven't scrolled, I employ you and invite you to do so because that's going to unlock so many different things. And I feel like that's always like the aha moment that I see in the admin 101 sessions when people are like, wait, you can scroll? Like, what do you mean? But yes, a report where I have prompts that kind of just help me in searching. And I use this more often than I go to search because I can really dive in and see like what's going on in there. In the screenshot, you can see I'm kind of going to just talk about how I built it, and then I'll talk about how I use it, if that works. So the filter, there is no filter. That's because, again, I'm going to use the prompts to kind of zone in, or the quick filter if need be. But if I just run it, I want to see all 4,000 reports that are in my system. I am working diligently to get that number down. I'll let y'all know next year where I land. That's next month's big project for me. But I group by report type because that helps my brain, at least, of like, what am I looking for? What am I looking at? And like, what is this list going to show me? And then the prompts that I have in there are name, description, entered by ID, last updated by ID, last update date, last viewed date, the all views, the report type, and the last 10 viewers viewer ID. Wow, that's not a mouthful to say. But the great thing about using especially that last prompt is I can kind of go in and kind of just, not spy, but take a little gander on like, what are some of these folks using it. Like, there's people that's like, oh yeah, I use that report all the time, and I can kind of look and be like, do you? When's the last time somebody's looked at that report? Was it 3 years ago? If it is, we probably don't need it. But I also, because I have 4,000 reports in the system, I am constantly having to kind of dig up, like, oh yeah, which report used X, Y, and Z, or which report did I need to reference to find. Just yesterday, someone asked me about all of our resource pools, and I was like, oh, let me get this report. I was able to export it very easily and be like, here's a list of the resource pools and the people that's in it, without having to kind of search and try to remember what the name was. I just went by typed that in and was able to find it really quickly. So that is a report that I use all the time. And if I didn't say so in the beginning, you will get a copy of these slides. And if anybody else puts slides together, I'll throw them in the deck before I fully send it out. So again, don't feel like you have to take screenshots or anything like that. The next report that I want to talk about is reports last modified year over year. So Y over Y is year over year. I use a lot of naming conventions in my reports just to help me, one, stay organized, but also it lets people know exactly what it is they're looking for, because these things have to live on their own. I can't be sitting next to everyone as they're kind of looking at stuff in Workfront. This report, super simple. It's another report where I've grouped it by the last updated person and the last updated date, the year of it. And I can use this for my storytelling element and kind of say, if you can't tell, the light blue is me. So I can say, like, in 2023, I touched like 242 reports. But as we try to get that number down, as I start kind of training other people on how to make reports and own a little bit of that, you can see that that number dropped by almost 100. And there's some other folks that popped up that weren't there before. And then even more so this year, we've gotten very clean with our reporting and kind of suiting everybody's needs. So again, I haven't needed to touch and do as much. And that's a nice, easy way to share that. Go for it, Lee. I see you have a question.
Quick question, just to make sure I'm not missing something that came out recently.
Yeah,
Um, we still can't change the label on graphs, right?
not yet. With reporting Canvas dashboards, you will be able to. So if you're in that beta, which it's an open beta, so anybody can sign up for it now, try it out there. But until then, not yet.
Good enough. Just want to make sure I wasn't missing something.
Yeah, nope, those are
Crazy.
the standard groupings, but I have it grouped by uh year is the one that it's showing, which is why it's a little bit cleaner than showing like everybody's individual name. And I forget what type of column it is, but it's not the stack column, it's the one where they're next to each other. So a grouping within a grouping. But yeah, I really used this report again for like my own kind of storytelling. I'm in the state of mind for um yearly reviews because mine is due today. So this was one that I pulled up this morning. So again, I can kind of start to tell that and put that in my stats. My last report that I'm going to talk about, and then I'll turn it over to y'all. And if there's time, I can go into some more. But custom forms and custom fields. This comes up all the time in community and scale events. And I was like, you know what? I got to make sure that I talk about these because I have two that I use all the time, especially when I need to like really dig in and see what fields are even in there, where are they being used, and then also what fields live on the forms, what are the choices in that field, all those types of things. So there's a lot of collections, and anybody who doesn't know, a collection is kind of a list of things within a column. So you're probably most familiar with a task report where you list all the assignments where it's a one to many. So one task, many assignments, and it lists everybody's individual name. That's a collection. These collections are not text mode, so don't feel like you need to like know any extra thing. They're already there for the most part. I'll double check to make sure, but I have a column which is one, two, three, four, five over on the one on the bottom, which is the field options allowed, which is literally what are the choices for that brand field. And then I also took it a step further and made sure to include the technical name and then the label, because the label is what people see on a form. So very often when people are referring to a field to either asking a question or they need to update it, they're going to reference the label because they have no idea what the technical workfront name is. So I wanted to make sure that I added that in my prompts so that I can just type that in and dig it up. More often than not, there's some that have the same label, which is A-OK, that's by design. But knowing who that person is, knowing what form it lives on, I can quickly kind of narrow it down to that. And then I'm exporting this list of folks all the time as people do clean up and try to explore and just see like, what are those options? Do we need to clean it up? Do we need to update it? Again, something very popular this time of year. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to stop talking. If anybody else has any questions, let me know. And if not, I will turn it over to whoever else wants to present today.
That's good. Hey Monique, this is excellent presentation. Thanks for your presentation. One thing I want to ask is like if you could send the screenshot of how we have used how we have created the report in the sense like what are the filters and what are the things you have used for especially for custom forms.
Yeah.
Uh, that will be helpful for us actually.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'm going to make sure that I give all of you this deck as soon as possible. But if it lets me, I'm not sure if Bevy will, but if I can put a screenshot in the chat, I will so that you have it right now. But for custom forms and the custom fields, there actually is no filter. So I leave it completely blank and then I'm using prompts. And the way that I think about prompts is kind of like, how am I going to search for this in the future? And you'll notice that like my prompts aren't, I kind of put them in order just for making it easy for you all, but usually I think of another one and I'm like, oh, I need to add that. So one that I recently added was the last updated by and the entered by person's home group. So then that way I can quickly see like everyone in marketing show me what they've been doing or using or whatnot, and kind of narrow things down, which is something I wasn't doing before.
So, but you would have selected some object type for the custom forms, right? So in the report. So I mean that screenshot, if you could send, that'll be better.
Yeah.
And another thing is like, is it possible to find if any custom form or field which have never been utilized for some time?
Yeah, so for that's going to be an exists report. So if you haven't done those or don't know anything about them, Sky Hansen just did a wonderful scale event on exist reports. I highly recommend all of you go to community and dig that up and watch it. I told her that that's the best um, session I went to all year, and I feel like I can say that because I've done a couple of them. So I'm like these are way better than anything that I have done. And she goes through like how to make an exist. And there is an exist filter that you can use for fields that do not show up on a form. I actually have that as just a filter in my drop down when I'm looking at custom form or custom fields, which are parameters. So you'll see that labeled as a parameter report, parameter custom form, custom field, sorry. And then a custom form is a category. And I use that exist to just see, because if there's a field that doesn't live on a form, sorry to break it to you, there's no data. And you can just delete that field altogether. So every once in a while, I'll just run that, select all, and delete. But yeah, I will be sure to include that as well.
Yeah, if you could include that session as well, like where we can find it out, that will also be helpful for us.
Yeah, I'll see what I can. But if you just type Sky Hansen, SKYE, and exists, it will come up because it was just a couple weeks ago. And I see that Lisa asked a question. Is there a way to look at custom form field that was never used? Same question as Persona. Yes. I will drop as soon as somebody else is presenting. I will copy that exist statement and just drop that in the chat. And thank you, Brenna. Just saw your compliment. I will make sure that you get it. So there's no other questions. I don't know who wanted to go next.
I'm happy to go next, Monique, if you'd like.
Take it away.
Hey everyone, I am actually not part of this user group. I am one of the co-leads of the Boston one, but I was meeting with Monique and the team a few days ago and said I'd be happy to share. And I'm going to take a bit of a different twist on this. So one of the, I help to manage an instance where we've got about a team of 30 creatives that are in the system working with over 500 business partners across our company. And I sit in a central role where I help to oversee the assignment of all the work and serve as like a co-project manager on every piece that we've got going on. And usually in any month, we've got somewhere between about 175 and 275 active projects that are due in that month. So I'm taking the twist on reports that we've generated that have helped me very quickly get insight across all those projects and help me with the hygiene of our system, knowing that we have 30 people who are all at varying levels of their Workfront expertise as project owners. So I'm going to share, if I could, here we go. So I quickly have 3 I want to walk y'all through that I have built. First off is our past due tasks. So we were finding that within our system, and I want to make sure, is everybody seeing that correct report?
Yep.
Okay.
Number of deliverables per project. Yeah.
Oh, no, this one.
No.
Sorry.
Here we go.
So past due projects, group by user and project. So for me, this one is important because it is, we are a team that time tracks. We're a team that is, we're using all of the resource and planning tools to help us allocate resources across the team to projects, and all of our templates have estimated hours that we're billing back down from. So we do track all of the time, but keeping those tasks up to date, of course, helps the integrity of all the data that you have in the system. So quickly, we were realizing that people were having tasks that had passed due. They were lingering out there. It was affecting our ability to forecast work. So at one point, we had just a task report that was just giving it to me kind of raw, and that was really challenging to understand. So we were able to use grouping to build this in a bit more of a clean way for us to be able to review as both managers on the team, but also for the individuals on the team to see what they have outstanding. So now we have it booked by grouped at the highest level by the owner and then by the project. So you can see what those tasks are and the status and when they were actually due. So this gives me a place at a glance every single day to come in and just review to see whose projects might be a little outdated, whose tasks are maybe lingering a little longer than they need to be, and to follow up directly with those project owners. So again, when you're working across this number of project owners, it just gives me the chance to see everything at a very high level and understand who may need a little bit of help with their work in that week. Another one that's really important for our team is a report that we've developed. And again, this is a task report, but we are a team that's driven by usually content coming in from the business partners that we're collaborating with. So in this case, this isn't grouped by project. This is still just an ungrouped report that is pulling in which project we're focused on this content due from business partner. I understand by seeing this who the project owner is, when it was due. And this gives me the opportunity to reach out immediately on behalf of the project owners to check in with those business partners about the status of their content coming into us. And with it being in this format, lets me, without even jumping into the project, adjust any due dates based on what we might have heard. So again, this gives me just really easy line of sight into where we're at on projects, what needs to be adjusted, and make those changes here on the fly on behalf of our project owners. The last one I'm going to share is something that changed our workflow. So in 2024 was our first full year using Workfront last year. And our previous project management tool, based on just the way the intake and assignment process had been established, every single project equaled a single discrete deliverable. With Workfront, with Workfront and the fact that our issues and our projects are somewhat separate, we were able to solve a pain point for our business partners that had been just volume of requests they had to put in for maybe a few assets for a single campaign. So now they're putting in singular requests that have multiple deliverables, and then sometimes those projects have multiple pieces that are being delivered separate of one another. So what we saw between our numbers, let's say from 2019 through 2023, we had a high volume of yearly delivered projects, but then we saw a big drop off in 2024. And then again, as 2025 was progressing, and we realized, given the difference in the way that people were requesting, that's what was causing it. So we have now associated a number of deliverables per project, which is done at the intake process. And then we use this to help generate the counts that we need to do, so we can do that like back of the napkin math to tell us, okay, how many actual pieces were delivered in the year, so that we're not using just a project count, we're using an actual asset count. So this was one that helped us just to solve, this is again from custom fields on a custom form, but let us solve some of that discrepancy we were seeing across the platforms that we utilize.
Thank you, Jillian. I don't know if you had a chance to read the
Oh
chat
no,
as you were
sorry.
going, but no, it's cool. It's one of those skills that you learn like years and years of doing it, but a lot of people love it. They were saying that that's something that they can use heavily. And then Kathy asked if you would be able to show what that past due task report, like what one line in there looks like. I
Yeah,
don't know if you can, but
definitely. I can pop back in. Let me share. Okay, so let's go to me because I've screwed something up here. So within it, I have them grouped. I have two levels of grouping: the project owner and then the project's name, and then whatever the tasks are. So in there, then I would see the title of the task, who was assigned to it, when it was due, and the percentage of completion. So I understand, am I going back in and having to check around? But it's helpful because I can tap right in, see the number of hours billed, and then close it out, especially in a place where maybe we have multiple assignments. But for some of our folks who might have like discrete tasks on projects, seeing like, okay, this is a task that's actually assigned to someone who isn't the project owner. So I don't need to go back to the project owner and figure out the status of this. I can reach out to the person who's assigned. So in this case, it's our animator, Alec. So again, this just helps as we try to keep like a bit of system hygiene and understand where people are, where people maybe have missed billing hours, or for me to investigate just overall project health as we're working with business partners. So has been really, really helpful for us to just roll up at a high level to see. Otherwise, I'm down. early on, I was bouncing between, 200 monthly active projects and realizing that was not a way to survive. So it's been really helpful, and I've encouraged the team to keep those also because it's really easy for them to make updates at that high level without having to go into each individual project too.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you again for sharing. I know that was more of a last minute. You're like, yeah, I got time. I'll do it. So always appreciate that. And then with that, we will go with whoever wants to go next. I know Lee, Brittany, right? I see Lee's camera coming on. So take it away, Lee.
Hey, thank you for adding me to this group. This is my first session with this group, so I'm super excited to get tips and tricks going forward. So
Of
um,
course.
I work for a marketing agency. We've called Quad. We've got about 1,000 users in the system at different levels, of course, and worldwide. So that presents challenges, of course, for a lot of things. But the one I wanted to share today was the user profile report and shared columns and how to do shared columns. I feel like I am not a big fan of horizontal scrolling. So let's see here. Here we go. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So I just wanted to share a user profile report. Sometimes when you go to the user screen, you can also create this as a view in the user's page, whatever. But as a report, it's nice because you can do some easy searching and just really get a good idea of what everybody's got. Sometimes it's really hard. And again, I'm not a fan of right to left scrolling. So as much as I can stack columns to save real estate, I feel like it just is a better visual experience. So this report here is probably 30 columns of data. So there are videos out there that I'll share. I know Cynthia Boone did a really good one, so I'll share the link to that. And there's also one on YouTube from Workfront Pro, I don't know what they're called now, but that kind of walks you through sharing of columns as well. So let's see if I can I change my screen. How do I change sharing screen on this thing? Stop. Try again. Okay. So sharing columns is time consuming, but I still think it's worth the time and the effort to do it. I have some basic instructions too that I will put in the chat on how to do it. I don't know if people have experience with this or not, so I'll just do like something real quick here. So if I want to share these dates, let's just say, so I'm going to create a column here. I'm going to drag it over. I'm going to switch to text mode, and there's just some standard language that you put in here to create the sharing. And this is a little bit of text mode stuff, but it's really not complicated. It's just time consuming. So you really kind of have to plan out what fields you want ahead of time. So this is saying, I want to break, I want to make it bold, and we're going to call this, I want to pull over the planning start date. And sharing the column. That's the key there. So now it created this new column. It pulled in this underneath here, but I don't have a title for it. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to say, actually, let's name this. Now it's called dates, and I've got a start date in here. So if I look at it, it's not here, but I've got a break. I don't want the break. and I need to pull over the due on. So I'm going to go back in here. And I'm going to get rid of the break so I don't have that extra line there. I'm done. Now, I want to pull this due on date underneath here. So I'm going to create a new column. I'm going to plug in those standard things here. This time I do want to break because I want it to be below it. I'm going to call this line of completion. And now it's a space here. So now to pull it over, I need to share it. So I'm going to come back into that original one. You're always going to use the bottom column number here. I'm going to share it. Now it's going to pull that right underneath here. So now when I look at it, it is stacked. If I wanted a line between it, instead of just stacked on top of each other, again, it's really simple text mode. And believe me, I am not a text mode person. But if I wanted the line break, I would just change this to H. And in Cynthia's demo on the link, you'll see she gives you a lot of different options there for different text mode. See now, if you look at it, there's a line in there between the dates. Okay. Just another thing that drives me crazy, the group name and template name. I'm sure everybody knows. I'm just going to change this to group so it doesn't display colons in it. And then one more key here is this is ID. Again, don't know if people know how easy it is to do this. But I'm just going to change it to name. This is a hot. So now it's going to be a name. But it has that colon that I hate. But now you can see. Change it to the name, the line, and everything. That is just a quick view of that. I'll share that PowerPoint again slide here real quick for people to see if anybody has questions.
Lee, I was not expecting a quick text mode tutorial, but I love everything about this, and I'm sure people are singing your praises, even in the chat, because this is awesome. It's one of those where super simple, and I feel like you might have showed it the quickest that I've ever seen someone kind of break it down, but it still make it easy to follow.
Thank you. I do have also a Word document that has the columns in it. So these 5 columns, I have a Word document that has everything in it. So if you take this and create a blank report and just have a blank column and you text mode everything in column 1 in here, column 2, etc., you'll have a report created. So I'll include that as well. Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
One thing I will say about that is if you are going to copy it, you're going to see in there the same way that when Lee showed, it was like column 0.1. Whatever. Depending on how many columns it is, I think you said it's 30 total. So anything that you have already in your report, it's going to eat it. So if you're adding it, and you already have some stuff in there, add it to the last column, so then it won't take anything to the right.
Yes.
And then you can obviously drag it around. So
I did that yesterday when I was recreating this. I'm like, oh my God, I copied and pasted it, and then it just threw all my columns off. So
yeah.
start with a blank report or something like that.
Yeah, I've come across that monster more than a handful of times over the years. So I'm always like, just in case. But and then thank you for dropping those links. But yeah, this is awesome.
They both still work. So thanks.
All right. I think
no questions?
I don't think so. It seems like everybody just loves you. All right. With that, I think Brittany, you're up.
Hi, everybody. So I am very new to Workfront, and so I've only been in the system for about a year. And when I came in, it was a very fragmented task-based system, and so we weren't doing any type of reporting. And so I've just been able to kind of streamline the most basic report, but it was really important for our CMO to see how we were allocating our resources for 2025. So I think I found some loopholes and backends to be able to report that information. And so let me just go ahead and share my screen. And again, very basic, simple. If you are like just starting out in Workfront, I think this would be a very kind of high level, nice visibility report for executive leadership to be able to present. So let's see here. Let me know if everyone can see that here.
Yep.
Yep.
25 business.
Yep. Perfect. So with this, when I first started, I wanted to kind of address everyone's pain point. I do have like background in user experience, and so this was really important to understand which business line was expressing ROI, and if we could kind of meet that data and put it into a report to kind of express to our different type of leaderships in different type of project types. And so with this, I was able to build a comprehensive analysis to express the project type, the business line that it follows, and how many hours we actually spend on each type of asset. So when I go into this report here, and I'll show you like another type of viewing too, where we're able to see kind of everyone's project and what they're working on, when it's due, and that just kind of gives us another visibility inside of what everyone's working on and like pretty much capacity management as well. So I did the groupings by business line, and I've been kind of playing with the naming convention a little bit inside of Workfront. So of course, I changed portfolios to business line and programs to project type, just so it kind of matches the lingo here that we speak at SIBO. And so I grouped the business line and project type. The filtering rules here, I set it by owner. So we use Workfront for our creative operations, and this is how everyone in our company is able to request assets for our design team and external agencies. And so I add everyone here that's on our design team and our external agencies simultaneously with the project planned completion date from the beginning of the year until today. And then, of course, the project status. So the projects have to meet these statuses right here. Chart it out, just so everyone loves a beautiful chart, especially executive leadership, with our brand colors here in that bar graph, with the x-axis showing the planned hours summarized by the sum, the left y-axis showing the project type name, and we want it stacked so we can see everything simultaneously together by project type. And so, of course, we hit save, and we were able to get this report. So as you can see, we have a lot of projects coming into our queue, quite a bit, and expressed by our mini business lines here. And from this report, we have spent an ample amount of time on campaigns. Our most popular business line looks like it's going to be institutional derivatives, which expressed about 207 hours so far this year that we have spent. And this kind of lets us know, okay, moving forward next year, how can we strategize for capacity management based on our designers, based on project types? Is anything that we can put in our custom forms to help continue to streamline these processes? Can we put a cap on how many people can request on a monthly basis? Because, you know, as everyone knows, it could kind of get a little crazy throughout the year with requests. And so if we go here to summary, it's kind of broken down in that itemized section. So our ARGs so far have requested 24 projects. We've spent 109 hours. SIBO Clear so far has requested 26 hours or 26 projects. We've spent 113 hours and so forth and so on. And then with that detailed view here, you'll see that grouping where it's grouped again by the business line and it's grouped by the project type. So listings, a total of 337 requests so far. And within that, the project type looks like the most popular one is the ETF launch videos. So we've gotten 190 requests. And you can see we've spent 148 hours so far this year on that request type. And actually, this has really been super helpful for us because we didn't have SLAs in the mix. And so having this information really helped us be SLA compliant and for us to also be able to build that into our template system and for our, clients to kind of respect that. The process implementing. So that's one report. And then another really super, super basic report where we kind of can show everyone here. Let's see, let me go down to, I've got several filters here, projects by designer, and then owner. So as you can see here, this helps me keep kind of track. If you want to say this is my workload balancer, but I like to kind of see it like this. And it lets me know, again, who the project owner, the original request name, the project side of things, who requested it, when it's due, what type of priority categorized is it, the business line, and the status. And this kind of gives me that so I can keep track of, okay, who's working on what? Do they have capacity? The status really helps me communicate with the client to see where we are in production. And so that's how I also know whether if it's in production, if it's planning, if we're waiting on client feedback, so forth and so on. That way I know kind of how to assign. But I'm sure you guys can give me so many tips on how to figure that out in different types of ways. But so far, this is how I'm able to kind of track everything. It's just been so super helpful to kind of see that information. So yeah, that's what I have.
I was on mute. I feel like you sell yourself short so much. Like I know you're still new and it's only been a year, but those are impressive. Like the fact that you have group columns and you're stacking them and whatnot. Like that's not a rookie report by any means. So give yourself some.
Thank you.
But yeah, and I don't know if you got a chance to see the chat either, but a lot of folks are impressed that you folks logging time, let alone the report itself. So
Awesome. It took a while, but we're here now. Thanks, guys.
yeah, and Randy added a good tip as well with sharing the filter.
I find everybody wants to do resource planning, but nobody wants to put in planned hours.
Nobody. It's so
Can't really get to one without the other.
Yeah, I mean, as an ex graphic designer, I get it. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So you kind of have to, you got to show them that it actually does something and what's in it for them and whole thing. We can definitely do a session on that next year, but I'm gonna open it up. Look at that, we have 14 minutes left. Is there anybody else that wanted to share? Because we've gone through the list of everyone who has pre-volunteered, but no pressure. Also, if you have questions on maybe there's a report that you've been noodling on and you can't figure out, or if there's another type of report that you want to see, now is the time. Like I said, I have 4,000 reports in my system, so I can definitely talk for days on reporting and have. It's probably my favorite thing to talk about in all of Workfront. So the floor is all of you. And I see, go ahead, Brenna. Which, oh, you're on mute. There you go.
Unmute. Thank you so much. So thank you all for everyone presenting. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I've been on Workfront for like 3 years, and my little report, somebody else did the reports for when I was at Elvins Hills, and now I'm at NRG in Houston, and we're just starting to build things. So some people shared reports, so I know how to revise things. But we have one of our directors wants a report that she's not doing any jobs in Workfront, but her people are, and she needs to track all that they're doing. But a lot of their stuff is not in Workfront either, because the stuff that they do is kind of outside Workfront. So I was like, how do I make a report? I think I have to get more information from my boss. She had several, I want to report by this, this, and this. It was like 7 things. And I was like, you know what? I have to ask somebody first. Well, I think I have to get you the 7 things first so you can figure out what kind of report is needed. I'll do that for my homework.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely can help with that. I'm sure you're already familiar with Workfront Community, but if you're not, anytime I run into a reporting kind of hiccup, and I saw Kurt is on here, he can attest to this. I have a 20-minute rule. So if I hit a wall, I try to like figure it out for 20 minutes. And then after that, I call in reinforcements. I reach out to the community, and I'm just like, someone, please help me, put me on my misery. Usually it's a misplaced comma or a curly bracket that shouldn't be there, or something just really dumb in my text mode that I probably wouldn't have caught even if I spent an hour staring at it, even though, we have AI now, so I can probably ask them as well. But, I have no shame when it comes to reaching out to community and just asking them like, hey, what's going on? Why is this not working the way? Or if somebody already has something that you can kind of like take from and then tweak it for your own use case. Like, I fully believe in stealing everything, especially everyone else that's a team of one. Because y'all are my team, right? Anything that you do, show, give, I'm like, yes, thank you. I copy that, I tweak it, and then I present it out. So we're definitely all in it together. But Brenna, one of the things that you mentioned that made me think of a report that I have, in case anybody else has anything else, stop me at any time. But something I put together, which I was trying to see if I can find it without showing any like actual people stuff in it. So I might be able to just show it without expanding on it.
Ooh, thank you.
Here it is. Yeah. Let me share my screen. Actually, let me put that over there so I can see both. And then I'll try to do a 2-for-1. Because I saw that Persona asked me a question about charts as well. So share screen, Chrome tab, this one. Yeah, I picked the right one. Look at that. So this is a report, and I actually did a whole session like 3 or 4 years ago on this report. I will try to dig it up where I kind of walk through like every single column and how I did it. But this is a project my team is on report for managers to use. The easier way to make this did not exist when I made this report. The easier way is to go into blueprints, which I'm going to try to do live, which we'll see how it goes. Share this tab instead. All right, we're cooking with gas. In blueprints, there is it helps if I spell the word resource right. Of course, resources used everywhere. Here we go. The people manager dashboard. So in Blueprints, you can install this. It's a beautiful report. It does utilize the org chart in Workfront. So if you do not have direct reports and manager of for your users, this will not populate anything. But if you do, you can quickly install this, and it allows team leads to see exactly what you mentioned, work that is assigned to their individuals. Can I hit preview? Is that a new tab? Share this tab instead. Zoom in so you can actually see it. Zoom out so we can actually read it. There we go. And it gives you this beautiful dashboard of, reports by the team active tasks, which is similar to what Jolynn had shared, and being able to see like issues if you have folks that are working on issues, late task, and it's all based on like the folks that report to you. Go ahead, Christina.
I would just say I've created something recently for my team. I can show you with it blank without showing people's information, but I used something similar to this and just mocked it up for what I needed.
Nice.
Because our teams wanted to see not just from a manager view, but for teams that overlap like projects often. So I showed it like a my team, all the tasks they're working on, because a lot of times our PMs have to delegate based off of different brands and so forth. But that's another option if you don't have the hierarchy in your background.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely really helpful. But I remember that I have my consultant is in here, so I was like, I can use this. But yeah, it shows like the status, the project and the program that it's a part of, so I can kind of quickly go to both of those. A shared column, like Lee showed, the owner of that project, and then here's where the magic happens, which is a collection of the task name, which kind of stops here, and then you have the task name stops here. If it was assigned to someone, none of these tasks have assignments, that name will be listed in this blank spot. And then right here is the planned completion date of that task. So again, super involved text mode, but really helpful to just be able to see here's all of the tasks in that project. The issue that managers had was there was just too many and that list was long. So now I'm showing them basically a task report, but per project. Obviously, you can't click into the individual tasks, but way helpful. And Lisa, I use Doug Williams. I love working with him. I've been working with him since 2018, and he is like my Wizard of Oz, like the man behind the curtain that's just making all of the levers go as I like dream of sometimes impossible things. Together, we're able to figure out what those are. And then super quickly, because I know we only have 5 minutes left and there are a couple of housekeeping reports, but Prasanna, you asked about charts. I don't chart information for the custom form or custom field report, but I do have that year-over-year report if I can get to it. Sorry, my mouse like just is in the process of dying. So it doesn't want to move every time. But yeah, the last modified year overview. Sorry about that. So in this report, you can see the chart, and you're only going to have options in a chart if you have a grouping. So if you're not grouping by anything, you can't chart on it. So that's step 1. And then once you have a grouping, any grouping option is going to be your option within your chart. This is what I meant when I said I grouped the columns. So I kind of have side by side the person's name, but then my main x-axis is this grouping by year. So
Thank you, Monique.
of course. And if I go back to our regularly scheduled slides, there we go, and share. I will say I'm getting much better with controlling Bevy. I was already on the right side. So couple, thank you, Brittany, and you're more than welcome, Jessica. Yes, we can absolutely do another reporting session, and we can also talk about Fusion. The Philadelphia group just did a really, really fun Fusion session. Kurt, correct me if I'm wrong. You just did a Fusion session for your group as well, and then you also did one for a different group, right?
Yeah, I did Pittsburgh. I did Pittsburgh and then Colorado.
Nice. So yeah, there are at least 3 WUG sessions from like this quarter, last quarter on Fusion that I believe all were recorded, all posted to the YouTube. So watch those, but we can definitely do one of our own next year. Speaking of events next year, if you want to know about them when they happen, join our group. I do know that some of you kind of found a link to this session and aren't a part of the group official. So just make sure that you go to our WUG, click join, and in that way you can get emailed whenever we post another one. And thank you, Jessica, for teeing me up. But if you ever want to know about other WUG sessions, when you go to that WUG site and go to events, all of them are listed there. I also have listed all of the ones that are happening for the rest of this year on this slide, which again, I will post at the community and make sure that you all have. It'll be before Thanksgiving. It won't be today. So probably like Monday or Tuesday, I'll make sure that y'all have that. Just know that our next DMV session will actually be with the Boston group. We're going to talk about resource management and capacity planning. So we're putting that all together now. So stay tuned. That should get posted hopefully before the end of year. If not, definitely by January. We're aiming for like a February timeframe. There are also a ton of just Workfront events that are on Experience League. So if you have not been over there, just know that just because the year is about to end, they have not stopped. There's like 6, I can't count, 8 more sessions that are happening for the rest of the year, including Admin 101, getting Workfront data. So if you are newish to reports, that is the one you want to go to. Thank you, Randy, for dropping that link. And then, of course, Summit is happening. It's a little bit later in the year. It's in April instead of May. We'll see if that works better or not, but super excited. If any of you are going, we're going to try to do like an in-person mega WUG for everyone that's there, just so that folks can meet. Because if you haven't been to Summit, there's literally tens of thousands of people there, and it's a little overwhelming at times. So it's always nice to be able to find other folks that speak the Workfront language, like you and I, and like, have lunch together, sit together, things like that. So if you are going, be sure to let me know so I can make sure that we are joined together. And then my last but not least slide, if you did not attend Skill Exchange, or maybe you did and you want to rewatch it, I had a session, Kurt had a session. I think that's everyone that's in here that's done one, but you can rewatch those recordings as well. And look at that, 12 o'clock on the dot. So thank you all for coming and participating. This doesn't work if you don't come off a mute and kind of share and collaborate. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and we will do more of these next year. Thank you all. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Monique. Bye,
Thank
all.
you.
Thanks. Bye.